Celine jolted awake. For a moment, she didn't understand where she was. The room was dark. The silence was heavy. Her chest rose and fell too fast. Her breath came in shorter intervals than it should. "Same thing again," she whispered. She couldn't remember what she had seen, but it wasn't the nightmare itself that woke with her. It was what the nightmare left behind. Cold, weight, a sound that never came back. She lay still for a while. Even though she couldn't see the ceiling, she stared at it as if it were there. Her mind tried to catch a single image, but every time it reached, it found emptiness. This wasn't new. It had been happening often these past months. Dreams, or rather, the absence of them. She woke as if something had happened but never remembered what, as if her mind was hiding something she wasn't meant to see. She took a deep breath, then another. As her heart slowly settled, she felt a light pressure on her chest. Smoke. Her cat, as always, had come and curled right there, warm, alive, breathing evenly. Celine didn't lift her hand. She didn't want to wake him. She simply matched her breathing to his. After a while, her own breath steadied. She wondered again why she had never changed Smoke's name. People asked her all the time, "Don't you want to start a new page?" But some names weren't given for a new page. Some names belonged to someone, and they had to stay where they belonged. She closed her eyes, but she didn't sleep. In the corner of her mind, the same thought kept turning. Not remembering wasn't always forgetting. Sometimes it was protection, but no one could be protected from everything. She sat up slowly and swung her legs over the edge of the bed. When her feet touched the floor, the cold reached her immediately. This was reality. Cold, hard, unavoidable. She checked the time. Morning was coming. The day would begin. But Celine knew some days began with a weight carried out of the night, and that weight would find its name during the day. She got up, dressed, and went to the kitchen. The coffee machine broke the silence, but the silence inside her stayed exactly where it was. She looked out the window. The town hadn't fully woken yet. The streets were empty. Everything looked normal, but Celine knew the things that looked normal were sometimes the ones that lied the most. She took a sip. It tasted bitter. Her phone lay on the table. It wasn't ringing, not yet, but she could feel it would, because some things, you felt them first, and then they happened. Celine was at her desk. There was no file yet. The station was calm. That calm belonged to early mornings. It was temporary. She set her pen down and listened. Footsteps in the hallway. Without realizing it, she listened the way she had learned to over the years, reading a person by how they walked. Fast, tight steps, rush. Running from something or trying to reach something. Slow, clean steps, caution. People who came thinking walked like that, dragging feet, heavy hearts, heavy loads. These footsteps weren't like that. They were steady, not fast, not slow, grounded. Celine lifted her head slightly. Daniel came in, happy. Not loud happiness, but the kind of walk that didn't carry weight. The door opened. Daniel stepped inside. Celine watched him for a moment. He was average height, broad shoulders, but he never tried to look bigger than he was. His coat was old, years old, yet neat, like his life, gray at the temples. No softness, but no cruelty either. The face of someone who hadn't talked much, but had seen plenty. His eyes were alive. That caught Celine's attention. Daniel didn't go to his desk right away. He noticed the package on the counter by the door. He stopped. Celine watched. He picked it up. tested the weight, looked at the label. His happiness gained meaning for her then. "Were you expecting something?" she asked. Daniel didn't open the box. He set it down on his desk. "Yeah," he said, "for Shadow." Celine straightened a little. "What's wrong with Shadow?" Daniel sat but didn't lean back, as if he might stand again any second. "He's been sluggish," he said. "He started falling behind when we walk. At first I didn't think much of it." His voice stayed level, but Celine felt something under that levelness. "Can that happen to dogs?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "It can," he said. "Distemper. They get it young. Sometimes it comes back years later." Celine went quiet. "It hits the nervous system," Daniel continued. "It comes slowly. People don't notice." Celine murmured, without meaning to. "Things that come slowly." Daniel looked at her. "Yeah," he said. "You usually notice too late." Celine glanced at the package. "A vet?" she asked. "None in town," Daniel said. "A friend in the city. I told him what's happening. He sent the medicine." "Will it work?" Celine asked. Daniel paused a fraction. "I have to try," he said. "I don't have another option." The phone rang. They both fell silent. Celine picked up, listened. Her face tightened. "Understood," she said. "We're on our way." She hung up. "Power pole," she said. "At the town entrance. One dead." Daniel looked once more at the package, then stood. The happiness was still there, but something heavy had been laid on top of it. "Medicine later," he said. "We go now." They headed for the door. As they walked, Celine listened again. This time, their steps were heavier, and Celine thought, some mornings a person arrives happy, but the day leaves them something else. The road was quiet. Near the town entrance, Celine looked out the window. Morning spread slowly along the mountain slope. The sky was clear, no fog, no wind. The kind of morning that should have calmed someone, but it didn't calm Celine, because bad things didn't need bad weather to hide. Sometimes they needed good weather to look innocent. The power pole was visible from far away. It was leaning, not like it had been blown over, more like something had finally given up on holding it. Daniel pulled over. He stepped out and looked straight at it. No rush. Celine followed his gaze. Cold hit her face. The ground was damp, but not soft. The gravel under her shoes sounded too loud. There wasn't much of a crowd. Two locals stood a little farther. The mayor was there too. Celine recognized him immediately. Mayor Henry Carter, dressed well, clean jacket, hair combed back. The kind of man who stepped 1 inch too far into your space when he spoke. Celine approached him, lowered her voice. "How did it happen?" she asked. The mayor exhaled like he'd been waiting for that question. "Night," he said. "Pole came down. The guy was under it." Celine looked at the pole, then back at him. "Was he working here?" she asked. "Or just passing through?" "Passing," the mayor said. "Coming back from the night shift." Daniel walked toward the base of the pole. He didn't join the conversation. Celine continued. "What did he do?" she asked. The mayor hesitated. His eyes slid away for a beat. "At the factory," he said. "Chemist." Celine's brow tightened. "What factory?" she asked. "Plastic," the mayor said. "Out by the edge of town." Celine nodded, but the unease in her didn't settle. Daniel crouched by the pole. He didn't look at the body. He didn't look at the top. He looked at the foot. Not the side that got the most sun or the most wind. The sheltered side. The break was there. Daniel took a small cloth from his pocket. He didn't touch it with bare skin. When he gripped with the cloth, he felt fibers crumble too easily. The piece came off easier than it should. Daniel paused. He scanned the other feet of the pole. They were still hard, dry, as if they could carry years more. But this foot, these poles, he thought, should last at least 80 years. The sun side fails first. The wind side weakens. But here, the break was where it should have been strongest. Daniel didn't say it out loud. He stored it. He put the fragment into a bag, sealed it, wrote the date. When he stood, he looked at the mayor, briefly, quietly. "Who's the dead man?" Daniel asked. "Michael Williams," the mayor said. 48? "How long at the factory?" Daniel asked. The mayor flinched as if the question arrived late. 15, maybe 20, he said. "Long time." Daniel slipped the bag into his inner pocket. The mayor tried to close the moment with a shrug of a sentence. "Old poles, things like that happen." Celine didn't like that sentence. "Things like that happen" wasn't an explanation. It was a lid. Daniel said nothing. But Celine understood from the way Daniel looked back at the pole. He wasn't looking at an accident anymore. He was looking at the possibility that someone had touched the wrong place on purpose. And a thought passed through Celine. Maybe some accidents start in the perfect place because someone made sure they would. In a small town, sounds spread fast. But when someone dies, what spreads faster than sound is commentary. Celine knew that. After they left the pole, they stopped near the cafe at the entrance. They didn't go inside. Celine chose to stay outside. Inside, people were cautious, but on the doorstep, they felt like the town itself was holding them. 3 men stood there. One held tea. One lit a cigarette. The third didn't speak. He nodded at everything. Celine approached. "Rough morning," she said. Not a question. A space opened for them to fill. They looked at her. "Yeah," said the one with tea. "Unlucky accident." Celine recognized that sentence now. "The pole?" she asked. "Was it old?" "It's old," said the smoker. "Things like that happen." Celine nodded, not in agreement. "Did you know him?" she asked. "Michael?" said the third man. "Of course. Quiet guy." Quiet. That word hung in Celine's head for a second. "What did he do?" she asked. "At the factory," said the tea man. "Chemist." Celine filed it away without showing it. "Night shift," the other added. "He'd be tired." Daniel stood a little behind, not speaking, listening. Celine thanked them and walked away. As they returned to the car, she spoke. "Everyone says the same thing," she said. "Things like that happen." Daniel didn't answer. They drove into town. 2 women spoke outside the grocery, one hand on her hip, the other voice low but fast. "Night," one woman said. They heard a sound. Celine stopped. "What kind of sound?" she asked. The woman shrugged. "Something fallen, but in this town, there's always sound." Daniel turned his head slightly. "Did the power go out?" he asked. "No," the woman said. "We didn't notice anything." Celine felt that snag inside her. Something fell, but no one went dark. Back in the car, Celine exhaled. "No one suspects anything," she said. Daniel stared ahead. "Suspicion," he said, "is expensive in a small town." Celine turned to him. "And you?" she asked. "Do you suspect?" Daniel was quiet a moment. "The pole," he said. "It broke from the wrong place." Celine already knew, but hearing it from Daniel made it heavier. "And the man," Daniel added, "stood in the wrong place." Celine swallowed. "That's too much coincidence," she said. Daniel nodded. "Coincidence," he said, "if it repeats, changes its name." Celine looked out at the town. Shops opened, people went to work. Morning moved like it was supposed to. But Celine knew now. The town had spoken, and while it spoke, it never said the one thing that mattered. Morning rose slowly out of the mountain. Daniel woke to a quiet house. Ash in the stove had turned gray. The wooden floor held the night's cold. Shadow lay by the door, black fur absorbing the morning light. Only the tip of his tail was white, as if someone had touched him at the last second and everything else had been left as it was. Daniel sat up. Shadow lifted his head but didn't stand. That was new. Before, Shadow would have been on his feet, before Daniel even moved. Daniel went to the kitchen. He set the delivery package on the counter, picked up the bottle, read the label again. His friend's handwriting from the city, sharp and hurried. He measured the dose and knelt by Shadow. "It'll help a little," he said, not soft, not harsh. He gave the medicine. Shadow turned its head but didn't resist. When he swallowed, he looked away. Daniel filled the food bowl. Kibble fell with a quiet sound. Shadow began to eat slowly. Appetite still there, no rush. Daniel watched him. Then he put on his coat. "If this isn't an accident," he said, "we'll know by tonight." Not hope, the sound of a decision. Before he left, he looked back once. Shadow raised his head. They held each other's gaze. Daniel closed the door. The station was calm. Celine sat at her desk, notebook open, not full, not empty. The door opened. Daniel stepped in. Celine lifted her head. "Morning," she said. Daniel paused. He answered without taking his coat off. "Morning." Celine read his face, measured his voice. "You're early," she said. Daniel shrugged. "Couldn't sleep," he said. "I was up." Celine didn't ask, but she thought of Shadow. Daniel sat, hung his coat behind his chair. Celine took a sip of coffee. "He okay?" she asked. She didn't say Shadow. They both knew who she meant. "For now," Daniel said. "We'll watch him." A short silence. This time, it was a decided silence. Celine pulled the notebook toward herself. "I thought about last night," she said. "If this isn't an accident." She picked up her pen. "A pole," she said, "doesn't fall on its own." Daniel lifted his head. "Even if it does," Celine added, "it doesn't fall from the wrong place." She drew a small circle. "Metal," she said, "sees sun, rain, wind for years." "This wear," she said, "is even." Daniel spoke. "Uneven wear," he said, "comes from outside." Celine nodded. "To weaken metal," she said, "you either load the same point again and again or—" She stopped. "Or you use something chemical." The word hung. Daniel didn't speak. But Celine saw something settle into place on his face. "Rust can be accelerated," she said. "Metal can be softened. Time can be shortened." Daniel said one short thing. "And that," he said, "takes knowledge." Celine looked down. "And now," she said, "we come to who could do it." She lifted the pen. "Factory," she said. "Chemists." A line. "School," she said. "Chemistry teacher." Another line. "And," she said, "someone with access everywhere in town." Daniel's gaze lifted. "The mayor," he said. Celine nodded. "3 stops," she said. "3 possibilities." Daniel stood. "Who first?" Celine asked. Daniel adjusted his coat. "The one who knows metal," he said, "and doesn't like talking." Celine closed the notebook. They didn't say the name, but they both thought it. Mayor Henry Carter. The mayor's house sat above town, slightly off the road, half hidden by trees. Celine watched the yard. Soil was neat, no footprints, not overly cared for, not neglected, balanced. Daniel walked to the door. He didn't ring, didn't reach for the handle. He simply stood. The door was closed, but it didn't feel locked, Celine noticed. Closed but not locked, she said. Strange. Daniel shook his head. Not strange, he said. Careful. Daniel knocked once, then waited. When the mayor opened the door, his face was ready. Not surprised, not relaxed. Come in, sit, he said, stepping back. Inside was tidy. Furniture old but clean, everything in its place. Yet Celine felt something missing. Not mess, not neglect. More like a house trying too hard to look normal. The mayor gestured to the couch. He stayed standing. Daniel spoke. You were at the scene, he said. Of course, the mayor said. I'm the mayor. Celine stepped in. Did you see where the pole broke? She asked. The mayor hesitated. I didn't look closely, he said. No need. Daniel didn't look away. Why? He asked. It was old, the mayor said. Obvious. Celine thought, what's obvious usually needs the most explaining. Daniel took a small step. You don't lock your door, he said. The mayor smiled. Small town, he said. No need. Celine remembered the yard. No footprints. Daniel continued. Were you home last night? He asked. The mayor answered too quickly. Yes, he said. Went to bed early. What time? Daniel asked. Around 11. Celine checked the time in her head. At 11, this town didn't fully sleep. The mayor tried to end it. Want some tea? Daniel shook his head. No. The mayor didn't like that, but he hid it. He walked them out. As they stepped outside, Celine noticed. After the mayor shut the door, he turned the lock. Once, then again. Too much. Celine broke the silence as they walked. Someone who says he doesn't lock his door, she said. Why lock it twice? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Then he stopped. Because, he said, there's something in that house he's hiding. Celine looked back at the home. It stood exactly where it always had. But now, to her, it was a place with something unknown inside it. The station felt different now. From outside, everything looked the same. Tables, clock, walls. But Celine knew when a file opens, the silence in the room changes shape. She set the notebook between them. This time, it stayed open. Daniel stood opposite her. He didn't fully sit, one hand on the desk. Now, he said. Who next? Celine took her pen. First suspect, she said. Mayor Henry Carter. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Celine nodded. He has access everywhere. He's eager to state where he was. He wants the scene closed fast. Things like that happen wasn't casual, Daniel wrote. Motive? He asked. Control, Celine said. He wants order untouched. Daniel nodded. Next. Celine drew a line. Second, she said. Mr. Martin Sawyer. Daniel lifted his head. School, he said. Yes, Celine said. Chemistry teacher. 22 years at the same school. Clean record, married, 2 kids. Daniel waited. And, he said. And he has knowledge, Celine said. A lab, and everyone trusts him. Daniel's voice was quiet. Sometimes, he said, the least suspected move the easiest. Celine nodded. Third group, she said. The factory. Daniel leaned back. Names, he said. Julian Archer and Brian Stone, Celine said. Chemical engineers, same shift. Daniel's brow tightened. Both? He asked. For now, Celine said. One talks too much. One avoids questions. She tapped her pen. And Julian has old burned scars on his hands. Daniel lifted his head. You didn't ask why, he said. Not yet, Celine said. Daniel thought a moment. And the dead man? He asked. Michael Williams, Celine said. Factory chemist, night shift, walks home alone. Daniel lowered his gaze. So, he said, knowledge, access, time, they intersect. Celine closed the notebook. Yes, she said, and no one's confessed. Daniel stood. Confession, he said, comes last. Celine looked at him. What comes first? Daniel headed for the door. Contradiction, he said. And if you look carefully, everyone leaves one somewhere. Celine picked up her notebook. Where do we start? She asked. Daniel paused. With the calmest one, he said, because calm sometimes works too hard. They didn't say the name, but they both thought it. The school was quiet in the early morning. The bell hadn't rung yet. Only a few rushed footsteps, a door creak, echoes. Celine stopped as she entered. She smelled the air, cleaning chemicals, chalk, and something else, sharp, metallic, a smell that stayed in the throat. Daniel kept walking, but Celine knew he smelled it too. The chemistry lab door was slightly open. A faint bubbling sound came from inside. The sign read, Martin Sawyer, chemistry teacher. Daniel tapped the door. Come in, a voice said. Inside, Martin Sawyer stood at the bench, putting on gloves. Safety goggles perched on his nose, a glass beaker in front of him, a clear liquid, a metal piece submerged. The liquid moved slowly across the metal surface. Celine stopped. Daniel stopped. Experiment? Daniel asked. Martin flinched lightly, then recovered. Yes, he said. Simple demonstration. Daniel didn't step closer. What kind? He asked. A reaction, Martin said. For the students. Celine watched the metal. Its surface began to roughen. What are you using? Daniel asked. Martin paused. Hydrochloric acid, he said. Diluted? Daniel tilted his head. How long until it affects metal? He asked. Martin swallowed. Depends, he said, on concentration and time. Slow? Daniel asked. Yes, Martin said. Usually slow. Celine watched Martin's face. His eyes stayed on the bench. He didn't look at Daniel. Things that come slowly, Celine said, go unnoticed. Martin looked up. What are you implying? He asked. Daniel spoke. For example, he said, a piece of metal can look solid from outside while weakening from within. Martin's face tightened. That's theoretical, he said. Daniel nodded. For now, he said. Yes. The door cracked open. A teenage girl leaned in. Dad, she said, Mom's not home. Can I take the house key? Martin didn't hesitate. He reached into his pocket, handed it over. Don't be late, he said. When the door shut, the room's air grew heavier. Daniel pointed at a cabinet. I want to look in there, he said. Martin's shoulders tightened. Teaching materials, he said. Routine, Daniel said. He opened it, bottles, labeled, shelves tidy, but one shelf was emptier than the rest. Daniel paused. This shelf, he said. Martin took a deep breath before answering. We were missing supplies, he said. Needed to restock. Celine looked at Martin's hands. Clean, but he was wearing gloves. Daniel checked the time. Time was still early. They thanked him and left. In the corridor, Celine spoke. Acid, she said. It takes time. Daniel nodded. And metal, he said, weakens slowly. Celine looked back at the lab door. The school was quiet, but they both knew. Some experiments don't happen only in laboratories. The factory door was heavy. It made noise when it opened. You couldn't enter without being heard. Celine didn't like that sound. Silent crimes liked places where sound didn't announce you. Inside smelled of metal, oil, heat, and a chemical sharpness hanging in the air. Daniel showed his ID to the guard. Short, clear. "We need Julian Archer and Brian Stone," he said. The guard nodded. "Back line," he said. They walked. Machines swallowed conversation. Celine looked around. Warning signs on the wall were old, some faded. Time left marks here too, she thought. At the back line, 2 men stood. Julian Archer was speaking, fast, hands moving. Brian Stone stood behind him, arms crossed, eyes avoiding. Daniel approached. "Julian Archer?" he asked. Julian turned. "Yeah," he said. "Problem?" Daniel introduced himself. "Questions about last night." Julian spoke immediately. "Heard about it," he said. "Terrible. But things like that happen. Old Pole—" Daniel cut him off. "Did you know Michael Williams?" "Sure," Julian said. "Same shift. Good guy." "He was a chemist," Celine said. "Yeah," Julian said. "Detail obsessed." Daniel looked at Julian's hands, gloves off, old burned scars in his palms. Daniel didn't mention it yet. "You were here last night," Daniel said. "Night shift," Julian said. "What time did you leave?" Celine asked. "Around 1, Julian said. "Maybe later." Daniel turned to Brian. "You?" Brian shrugged. "Earlier," he said. "Headache." "What time?" Daniel asked. "Around midnight." Celine watched Brian's feet, heel tapping. He couldn't stand still. "Those burns," Celine said to Julian. "From what?" "Work accident," Julian said. "Old." "What kind of work?" Daniel asked. "Chemical cleaning," Julian said. "What did you use?" Daniel asked. Julian took one beat too long. "Hydrochloric," he said. "Diluted." Celine lifted her head slightly. Same acid again. Daniel scanned the metal surfaces around them. Thick supports. Columns. "How long to weaken metal here?" Daniel asked. "Depends," Julian said. "It's slow." Brian spoke for the first time. "But if it's constant," he said, "you don't notice." Daniel turned to him. "Who doesn't notice?" he asked. Brian went silent. Daniel wrote it down. "One more," Daniel said. Julian lifted his chin. "Did Michael have problems with anyone outside work?" Julian didn't answer quickly. "It was work-related," he said. Brian raised his head. "He did," Brian said. "All the time." "With who?" Celine asked. "The manager," Brian said. "Production manager." Julian jumped in. "Michael kept digging into reports," he said. "Safety forms, chemical logs." "Would he warn people?" Celine asked. "Yeah," Brian said. "A lot." Daniel's voice stayed calm. The manager didn't like it. Not a question. Julian exhaled. "Who would?" he said. "He'd say production's slowing down. You're exaggerating." "When was their last argument?" Celine asked. "Last week," Julian said. "Friday." Celine's pen stopped. "Friday." Daniel closed his notebook. "Enough," he said. They turned to leave. But before stepping out, Daniel stopped and addressed the guard. "Where do we find the production manager?" he asked. "Admin building," the guard said. "Office, this hour." Celine looked at Daniel. Daniel nodded. "Thank you," he said. Outside, the factory door slammed again. Celine spoke. "One talks too much," she said. "One stays quiet." Daniel kept walking. "And one," he said, "isn't being spoken about." Celine stopped. "The manager." Daniel didn't turn. "Yes," he said. "Now it's his turn." The admin corridor was quiet. Factory noise died behind those walls. Cleaner paint, brighter floor. Decisions lived here. The door sign read, "Production Manager, Harold Shaw." Daniel knocked. "Come in," a voice said. Harold Shaw sat behind his desk, late 40s, hair combed back, tie neat. But his eyes were tired, not from lack of sleep, from long carried tension. Daniel introduced himself. Celine didn't sit. "About last night," Daniel said. "A few questions." Of course, Harold said. A tragic accident? Celine watched the files on his desk. Labels, dates, everything in place. You knew Michael Williams, Celine said. Yes, Harold said. He worked under me. He was a chemist, Daniel said. He did his job well, Harold said, then paused. Too well. Excessively. Celine tilted her head. What do you mean? She asked. He questioned everything, Harold said. Forms, reports, procedures. He slowed production. Daniel stepped closer to the desk. Safety logs, he said. Chemical usage lists. Yes, Harold said. Unnecessarily. Celine softened her voice. Did you argue? Harold smiled. Work arguments happen, he said. Professional. Daniel nodded. Were the loud ones professional too? He asked. Harold's smile disappeared. Exaggerated, he said. I mind my work. Celine took a step. Where were you last night? She asked. Home, Harold said. Left late. What time? Daniel asked. Around 11. Daniel looked at his watch. Friday again, he said. Harold didn't answer. Celine didn't like that silence. It was too controlled. Could Michael have found something? Celine asked. Harold looked up. Like what? He said. An inconsistency, Celine said. In the chemical records. Harold leaned back. Everything is logged, he said. You can look. Daniel didn't say, we will. He said, we'll follow, he said. They stood to leave. At the door, Daniel paused. One more, he said. Some accidents look like accidents from the outside. Harold didn't respond. The door shut. In the corridor, Celine spoke. He's defensive, she said. Ready. Daniel kept walking. And angry, he said, lost control. Celine looked at the window. Michael Williams, she said, asked the wrong person the right questions. Daniel stopped. Now, he said, we prove it. The station was quiet in late afternoon. The day's weight settled on the desks. Celine opened her notebook. This time, the page was full. Daniel sat opposite her. He didn't fold his arms, didn't put his hands on the desk. He simply looked. Let's go one by one, he said. Celine nodded. The mayor, she said, controlling, hungry for information, but no method. Daniel added, and he doesn't like risk. Celine continued, teacher, she said, knowledge, lab, but no visible motive. Daniel tilted his head. And too visible, he said. Celine turned the pen. The two engineers, she said, one loud, one silent. Daniel took over. Both know acid, he said. Both know what metal can endure. Celine paused. But, she said, no personal hatred toward Michael. Daniel nodded. At least, he said, not enough to kill. Celine turned to the last page. The manager, she said. They both fell silent. Only clear hostility is there, Celine said. Loud arguments, reports, threats to stop production. Daniel looked at the desk. But, he said, does anger equal murder? Celine chose her words. Usually no, she said. People get angry. They shout. They don't plan. Daniel's voice was quiet. This, he said, was planned. Celine set the pen down. So, she said, there's hostility, but it's not enough. Daniel stood. Right, he said. Something's missing. Celine looked up. What? Daniel grabbed his coat. Proof, he said, and time. Daniel's house was quiet. Shadow lay by the door, lifted his head, lowered it again. Daniel cleared the table. He pulled a small metal piece from his pocket, a common kind, factory metal. Then the bottle. He read the label again, hydrochloric acid, diluted. He put on gloves and cracked a window. He looked at Shadow. Don't come close, he said. He placed the metal on a plate, let a drop fall. At first, nothing. Then a faint sound, a movement, barely visible. Daniel started his timer. Minutes passed. The metal dulled, the surface warped. Daniel leaned closer, didn't touch. Slow, he whispered, and silent. Another drop. As time moved, the metal no longer stood the way it had. Daniel stepped back. This doesn't happen in one moment, he said. He set the acid aside, rinsed the metal. In his hand, the weight felt the same, but the strength. He pressed lightly, it bent. Daniel closed his eyes. A pole, he said, doesn't fall in a day. He listened to Shadow's breath. But if you give it time, he said. He set the metal down, and for the first time, he saw exactly how it could be done. Night deepened at the station. Celine stared out the window. The town went quiet. Lights died one by one. A murder, she said, isn't always a moment. Daniel placed a blank paper on the desk. Sometimes, he said, it's a process. He took the pen. Start, he said. A line. The pole, he said. Solid, no visible issue. Celine continued. Then acid, she said. Diluted, little by little. Daniel nodded. Not every day, he said. Spaced out, so no one notices. Celine lowered her voice. A chemist knows that, she said. Daniel drew another line. Time, he said, is the biggest accomplice. Another line. Friday, Celine said. Last argument. Daniel added. And Friday, he said. The last missing record. Celine froze. So, she said, the pole was weakened on Friday. Daniel shook his head. No, he said. Friday, it was finished. Celine lifted her eyes. What about before? She asked. Daniel pulled the paper closer. Before, he said. Practice. Celine's voice sank. Metal, she said, slowly gave up. Daniel stood. And Sunday night, he said, the load arrived. Celine thought. Rain, she said. Wind. Daniel shook his head. An excuse, he said. Well chosen. Celine closed her notebook. No one, she said, looks at a pole at that hour. Daniel faced the window. Because everyone, he said, looks at the outcome. Celine asked quietly, So who did it? Daniel stopped. We don't know yet, he said, but we know this. He turned. Someone, he said, didn't go there once. Celine narrowed her eyes. They returned, she said. Daniel nodded. And every time they returned, he said, they left something behind. Celine thought, people think time hides everything, but time is what gives you away. Daniel folded the paper. Now, he said, we look at who controls time. Celine couldn't sleep all night. The burn in her stomach didn't fade. Her head kept spinning. She left her coffee half finished. Couldn't open the file a second time. Daniel noticed. You don't look right, he'd said. Celine brushed it off at first. Then when she stood, dizziness hit her, and she gripped the desk. She didn't argue. The hospital was close. The road was short and quiet. Now she lay on a gurney, an IV in her arm, drop by drop. Daniel stood at the bedside. He didn't sit. I'm fine, Celine said. No sleep? Stress. Daniel didn't answer. He knew. Celine moved her hand. Her wallet slipped from her fingers, hit the floor. Daniel didn't bend immediately. He paused. A photo had fallen out. A young man, a calm face, eyes that looked like hers. Daniel picked it up, slid it back into the wallet, set it beside her. A thought passed through him. So you still can't forget. How could you? Celine didn't notice, or noticed and chose silence. I don't like this place, she said after a while. Daniel nodded. I know. In the corridor, Daniel stopped. The lab door was open. 2 people inside. A janitor was pulling off gloves, irritated. "This stain won't come out," he said. "I poured it straight, then it spread." The lab worker spoke without looking up. "You shouldn't pour it straight," he said. "You dilute it first." The janitor paused. "Or else?" he asked. "Or else," the worker said, "it damages other places." A brief silence. The janitor muttered, and then no one understands what happened. Daniel stayed at the door. He didn't enter, didn't look. He only listened. And one sentence formed in his mind. Whatever that was, it required too much caution to be just cleaning. Daniel didn't move, but something had shifted out of place. At the end of the corridor, a chair. Daniel sat. This wasn't an accident, but it wasn't yet proven murder. It was something too neatly hidden. The IV drops echoed, slow, silent. Some things worked like that, used little, diluted, and precisely because of that, unnoticed. Daniel didn't go home. He stayed at the station. He didn't close the files, only rearranged them, one in the center, the others around it. As the hour passed, the room's sound changed. Daytime noise left. Only paper rustle remained. Daniel opened the first file. First death. Officially, accidental. Old water tank in the factory's back section. One support leg thinned near the ground. Cause listed clearly. Age. Chemical vapor. Excess load. The leg couldn't hold pressure. Tank tipped. Crushed the worker beneath. Result, accidental death. Daniel closed it. Second file. Factory again. A metal railing on the service platform. Looked solid. But inner surface showed deep wear. Railing tore free. Man leaned. It failed. Fall. Result, accidental death. Daniel closed it. Third file. Chemist. Factory area again. A contact surface. No burn, but metal far weaker than it should be. Cause, structural degradation. Chemical exposure. Result, accidental death. Daniel aligned the 3 files. Same environment, same production area, same neglect. Celine came in, still pale, like she'd stepped out of the hospital minutes ago. Daniel lifted his head. "You should have gone home," he said. "You're not well." Celine shrugged. "I'm fine," she said. Her voice wasn't as strong as her words. Daniel didn't believe her. Celine looked at the files. "All of these," she said. "Same place," Daniel nodded. "And the same way," he said. Celine sat slowly. "There's an order," she whispered. Daniel didn't respond. Between the files was a blank space, a file not yet opened, and they both knew the chain wasn't finished. The factory was running. Machines hit the walls and returned as noise, the kind of noise that pretended everything was fine. Daniel didn't like that sound. He walked straight to security. 3 accidents, he said. Tank, platform, fall. The guard hesitated, then reached for his radio. "Someone escort them," he said. A young engineer came, not yet 30, but his eyes looked older than that. "I'm Nathan," he said. "What do you need?" Daniel walked as he spoke. "Old materials supervisor, Hank Cole," he said. "We're asking about him." Nathan slowed. "The tank accident," he said. "The one crushed." Celine opened her notebook. "What was he like?" she asked. Nathan answered without thinking. "Meticulous," he said. "Never guessed load limits." "That's good," Daniel said. "Yes," Nathan said. "But he slowed production." "Who did that bother?" Celine asked. "Time," Nathan said. "And sometimes managers." Daniel kept walking. "Any personal grudges?" he asked. Nathan shook his head. "No," he said, "but he wasn't liked." At the platform area, Daniel stopped. Another death here, he said. Quality control. Nathan lowered his head. Michael, he said. He did his job. Too well. Daniel looked at him. Too well? He repeated. He hunted for mistakes, Nathan said. Sometimes even when there weren't any. Celine stepped in. Did he report what he found? She asked. Nathan hesitated. Sometimes, he said. Sometimes he tried to fix it inside first. Daniel's face didn't change. With who? He asked. Nathan didn't answer. He only pointed upward. Near the lab section, the air quieted. When the chemist's name was spoken, conversations died. A woman approached. You're asking about him, she said. Daniel nodded. We're looking at all three together, he said. She inhaled deeply. He was a good man, she said. He didn't point fingers. Celine watched her. Is that good? She asked. The woman paused. Not always, she said. Daniel asked, how was he with the manager? They argued, she said, but behind closed doors. Owner? Daniel asked. She shook her head. Rarely comes here, she said. Daniel closed his notebook. 3 people, 3 positions, same factory. On the way out, Celine slowed. Did you notice? She asked. Daniel stopped. What? No one is openly fighting, Celine said, but everyone is uncomfortable. Daniel opened the door. An enemy, he said. Shouts. He stepped outside. Someone uncomfortable, he added, stays quiet. The factory noise stayed behind them, but what remained inside wasn't noise. It was an order. The manager's office was upstairs. They'd climbed those steps before. Same floor, same door. Daniel stopped, raised his hand, knocked twice. Come in, the familiar voice said. Harold Shaw sat behind his desk. Same as before, shirt pressed, no tie, jacket on the hanger. Not the posture of a worker, the posture of someone who makes others work. Daniel entered. Celine shut the door. Harold gave them a brief glance. Again? He asked. His tone didn't hide it. He hated delays. Yes, Daniel said. Questions aren't finished. Harold shifted slightly. Reports are ready, he said. All 3 were accidents. Daniel didn't sit. Hank Cole, he said. The tank. Harold lowered his head, straightened papers. Meticulous, he said. Too much sometimes? Too much what? Celine asked. Too much for production, Harold said. He slowed it. Daniel tilted his head. Quality control, he said. Harold exhaled. He did his job, he said, excessively. Daniel's eyes didn't move. When does excessive become a problem? He asked. Harold paused. When time is tight, he said. When targets exist. Celine wrote it down. Daniel continued. The chemist. Harold leaned back. We argued, he said. Procedures. What procedures? Celine asked. Reporting, Harold said. Approvals. He thought everything should go official. Daniel looked at him. Did it not go official? He asked. Harold paused. We didn't see the need, he said. Things could be handled internally. Daniel's voice stayed calm. Who decided that? He asked. Harold didn't answer. He looked out the window. Below, the factory kept moving, production flowing. We do business here, he said, not paperwork. Daniel nodded. Reports, he said, are written on paper. Harold turned. Are you looking for a crime? He asked. Daniel went to the door. Not yet, he said. Celine paused before leaving. Sometimes, she said, legal limits reduce profit. Harold didn't respond. The door shut. On the stairs, Celine spoke. He's uncomfortable, she said. Daniel nodded. Because he was on the edge, he said, and anyone standing on an edge waits for someone to push. Outside, the factory still ran, but to Daniel now, it looked too clean. The factory gate closed, but in Daniel's mind, gates stayed open. They walked to the car without speaking because sometimes questions aren't asked out loud. Cold made itself known immediately. First your nose, then your ears. Celine lifted her collar. "That place," she said, "too neat." Daniel opened the car door. "Neat places," he said, "usually hide something." They got in. As the factory shrank in the mirror, Celine continued. "The manager," she said, "was bothered." Daniel watched the road. "Because he's trying to balance," he said, "production, oversight, profit. And one outweighs," Celine said. "Profit," Daniel replied. At the station, the cold felt sharper. They entered and found an unusual quiet and movement. A cat stood in the corner, dark coat, street-worn fur. It didn't fully put weight on its front right leg. Held it slightly lifted. Celine stopped. "How did it get in?" she asked. Daniel looked. "Door was left open," he said. The cat didn't look at them. It stayed in the corner. Celine opened her bag, pulled out a small packet. Cat food. She always carried some. She scattered a handful. The cat hesitated, then approached. Daniel watched the cat's gait. "It's been like that a while," he said. "Not new." Celine shifted the food closer. "How can you tell?" she asked. Daniel shrugged. "From the way it steps," he said. The cat still didn't place the leg fully. They moved to the desk. Celine opened the first file. "All three," she said. "Same place." Daniel sat. "Same factory," he said. "Inside or around?" Celine rolled her pen. "And all three," she said, "people who took the job too seriously." "Materials supervisor," Daniel said, "calculates load." "Quality control," Celine said, "hunts errors." "Chemist," Daniel said, "finds irregularities." Celine paused. "And someone," she said, "is bothered by that." Daniel didn't respond. Silence said enough. "The manager," Celine said. Daniel lowered his head. "For more profit," he said. "He may have looked away." Celine closed one file. "Looking away," she said, "isn't always not knowing." Daniel glanced at the cat in the corner, still protecting the leg. "Sometimes," Daniel said, "you get used to it." Celine looked up. "And what about things," she asked, "you shouldn't get used to?" Daniel didn't answer. But the order of files on the desk was beginning to speak. When they left the station, dusk had begun. The cold released what it had saved all day and laid it on your face. Celine paused while putting on her coat. "I'm going home," she said. "I need rest. Long day." Daniel looked at her. "Good," he said. "We're worn out." Celine stopped at the door. "If anything happens, call," she said. Daniel nodded. "I will." Celine left. Daniel stayed outside for a while. He didn't get into his car because his questions wouldn't let him go home. He walked toward the factory, not far, but he wanted to walk, to think. He crossed to an empty lot opposite the factory, lights still on, no production noise, but the building was awake. After a while, a door opened. Harold Shaw stepped out. Alone? His shoulders were low, jacket worn wrong, steps hard, not anger, discomfort, like he'd made a decision he didn't enjoy. Harold turned into a narrow side street. Daniel followed at a distance. The street ended at a small office. A light was half on. Someone was inside. Harold went in. Daniel stopped and looked through the glass. The man inside didn't stand, as if he'd been waiting. Conversation was quiet, but body language was loud. Harold said something. The other nodded. Then Harold pulled an envelope from his pocket. Thick, not one sheet. Harold didn't set it down. He extended it straight toward the man's chest. Not a request, a drop. The man took it, but didn't look pleased. Harold stepped back. His face hardened. He said something short, sharp, then turned and left. He didn't slam the door, but it wasn't gentle either. Daniel stepped back. Harold walked to the end of the street, paused, looked around, then kept going. Daniel stayed. One sentence in his head: Harold isn't doing the job. He's delegating it. That's what people do when they don't want their hands dirty. Daniel turned to leave. This didn't solve it, but it confirmed something. This man was at the center of the story, killer or not. Daniel had just turned the corner when his phone rang. "Celine," he answered. "You went to the factory," Celine said. Not a question. "A guess." Daniel stopped. "Yes," he said. "I watched." "See anything?" Celine asked. "A small shop," Daniel said. "Side street. Harold met someone." Celine paused. "Shop name?" she asked. Daniel recalled the sign. "Arden Technical," he said. "Says industrial chemical cleaning." Celine went quiet longer this time. "I know that place," she said finally. Daniel lifted his head. "How?" "Old file," Celine said. "Guy there got booked once. A fight." "What kind?" Daniel asked. Celine breathed in. "Impulsive," she said. "Anger, no plan, messy after." Daniel stayed silent. "And you said Harold gave an envelope," Celine continued. "Yes." "If that guy did it," Celine said, "it wouldn't be this neat afterward." Daniel thought. "So?" he asked. "So," Celine said. "Someone showed him the path." Daniel narrowed his eyes. "Or opened the way," he said. Celine's voice hardened. "That man can hurt someone," she said, "but he can't move this quietly." Daniel nodded. "I felt the same," he said. "Harold paid him, but the decided mind wasn't his." A short silence. "The manager?" Celine said. Daniel didn't answer. "Not yet," Celine added. "Not certain." "It isn't," Daniel said, "but we're circling." Celine's voice softened. "Tomorrow," she said, "we go to that shop together." Daniel allowed a small smile. "Yes," he said, "closer this time." The call ended. Daniel put the phone in his pocket and thought, for the first time, this wasn't one man's work, but some men were very good at making others do the work. The shop shutter was half open. A heavy smell drifted out. Not cleanliness. Where? Celine stopped. "This is it," she said. Daniel read the sign. Arden Technical, Industrial Cleaning and Maintenance. They entered together. The floor was wet but not fresh, edges dried. Stains remained. Behind the counter stood a man, 40s, thin, low shoulders, no gloves, Daniel noticed. The man looked up. "Yeah?" he said. His voice wasn't flat, not tense, not relaxed. "We'll ask something," Daniel said. "Quick!" The man nodded. Celine scanned the shelves, bottles, labels, some old, some half-scrubbed, like they'd been erased. "Last night," Daniel said, "someone came here." The man's face twitched. "Tiny." "Who?" he asked. "From the factory," Celine said. "The manager." The man looked away. "Work," he said. "We talked." "Done." Daniel stepped closer. "He left an envelope," he said. The man looked up. "He did," he said. "Yeah." "What for?" Celine asked. He shrugged. "Cleaning supplies," he said. "Industrial." "What kind?" Daniel asked. The man's hand moved under the counter, but he didn't pull anything out. "Metal," he said. "Hard surfaces." Daniel glanced around. "Metal holds a lot," he said, "but not everything." The man didn't answer. Celine stepped forward. "Your name was in an old file," she said. "A fight." The man laughed without humor. "Momentary," he said. "I lost it." "And after?" Daniel asked. "I gave a statement," he said. "File closed." Daniel looked at a mark on the counter, not white, transparent, but the surface beneath was damaged. Something spilled here, Daniel said. The man answered too fast. Cleaning stuff, he said. Every day. Daniel leaned in. He didn't touch. He only looked. This, he said softly, takes too much caution to be just cleaning. The man stepped back. Celine saw it. Do you do this alone? She asked. The man froze. No, he said. What are you saying? Daniel straightened. This job, he said, is too organized to be explained by one man's temper. The man didn't answer. He looked down at his hands. His left hand? Daniel noticed, but didn't speak, because some details didn't talk at first glance. They talked later. Daniel went to the door. One more, he said. The man lifted his head. These kinds of jobs, Daniel said, whose name are they usually done under? The man swallowed. Sometimes, he said, no one asks. Daniel opened the door. Celine followed. Outside the cold was sharper. Celine whispered as they walked. He's scared. Daniel nodded. Yes, he said, but what he's hiding isn't intelligence. Celine stopped. Then where is the intelligence? Daniel didn't answer, but they were both looking the same direction, toward the factory. When they entered the factory, the first thing Daniel watched was faces. After an event, faces changed first. He asked the first worker, "Where were you the day of the accident?" The answer came fast. "Tank area," the man said. "Heard a sound. We ran." "Did you see the moment?" Celine asked. The man shook his head. Daniel looked at the man's hands. Calluses, no tremor. Second worker, loading bay. "I was on shift," he said. "Platform." "Moment?" Daniel asked. "An instant," he said, then shouting. Third worker, maintenance. "I got called," he said. "After," Daniel wrote. Fourth, fifth. Some remembered sound, some remembered crowd, some were off. No one described it clearly. Daniel turned to Celine. "Engineers now," he said. First engineer talked quickly. "Old systems," he said. "Where?" Daniel let him talk. Second engineer was calmer. "Maintenance was scheduled," he said. "But you can't reach everything." "What didn't you reach?" Celine asked. The engineer paused. "Details," he said, "in reports." Daniel nodded. "We'll read 'em." Chief engineer appeared tired. "After the accidents," Daniel asked, "did anyone quit?" The man lowered his head. "Yes," he said, "some." "I want names," Daniel said, "and the injured." The man inhaled before answering. "I'll prepare it," he said. Daniel continued. "I want a full file on each," he said. "Roles, shifts, the accident day, what happened after." The chief engineer nodded. Harold appeared at the door. "That's enough," he said. "Production is being disrupted." Daniel faced him. "Accidents," he said, "come before production." Harold stared. "Who?" he asked. "Who got injured?" Daniel didn't answer. "List," Daniel said. "Names." Harold paused and looked at the chief engineer. "Give it," Harold said. Celine wrote that down. Daniel closed his notebook. They weren't going to look at the factory anymore. They were going to look at homes, because some answers were only given there, not loudly, but in silence. First address was at the edge of town. Small yard, hard soil, a fence leaning, house neglected, but not abandoned, like someone left and couldn't come back. A boy around 18 opened the door. "Who are you looking for?" he asked. Celine stepped forward. "Alex Williams," she said. "Factory accident." The boy nodded. "My dad," he said. "He's inside." Alex lay on a bed. His left leg ended below the knee. Daniel stood at the bedside. "Accident day," he said. "Where were you?" "Tank area," Alex said. "Loading." Celine asked, Were shelves normal that day? Alex exhaled. No, he said. More than usual, so shipments wouldn't wait. Daniel wrote. Was maintenance due? He asked. Alex turned his head. It was, he said, but it was always postponed. The boy cut in. Dad said it, he said. Others too? Daniel looked at him. To who? Management, the boy said. Celine turned back to Alex. And then? She asked. Alex's voice thinned. Then, he said, the shelf fell on us. He paused. Matthew King was there too, he said. Same shift? Daniel lifted his head. Matthew died. Alex looked away. 2 kids, he said. His voice caught. I'm still here, he said. But what happened to them? When they left, the boy stood by the door. Write it down, he said. This wasn't an accident. Second stop, Miles Carter's house. Wheel tracks at the door. Inside dim, curtains half closed. Miles lay on a bed below the waist. Nothing moved. The railing, he said. It was old. Daniel asked, was it reported before? Miles nodded. Many times, he said. Went into maintenance list. Celine wrote, so why wasn't it fixed? Miles paused. So production wouldn't stop, he said. Every time there was another excuse. He stopped. Ethan Cole said it too, he said. He was on the platform that day. Celine lifted her head. What happened? The railing gave, Miles said. Ethan stayed down there. Silence filled the house. Miles continued. I'm alive, he said. He isn't. Third house looked more organized, but the silence was heavier. A woman opened the door. Who are you asking for? She asked. Henry Stone, Daniel said. She stepped aside. He's inside. Henry sat on the edge of a couch. His right arm was gone. Can you tell us the moment? Celine asked. Henry spoke slowly. I was on the stairs, he said. Owen was ahead of me. He paused. He tried to grab, Henry said. The railing broke. Celine listened. Owen, Henry said, ended up under the metal. The woman lowered her eyes. Henry continued. I lost my arm, he said. Owen lost his life. Daniel asked, was this said before? Yes, Henry said, more than once. What was said? Celine asked. Henry inhaled once. Production can't stop, he said. We'll look later. Back in the car, neither spoke for a while. Daniel stared at the steering wheel. The ones who lived, Celine said finally, they're telling the story. Daniel nodded. The dead, he said, are speaking through them. Celine looked out the window. And now, she said, they're all names. Daniel turned the key. Not files, he said. People. The car moved. Behind them, the houses stayed quiet. But the losses came with them.